Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? Hope we're all doing very, very well. Now, it's a Freedom Friday. Wow, you know what that means to Kilt-Man? It means liberation, freedom, whiskey, parties. Kind of like every other day of the fucking week. But today, we do it on the Friday, when everyone else can enjoy themselves as well. So yes, welcome to Freedom Friday. Now, my Freedom Friday started off really, really well. Even whilst lying in bed, reclining and luxuriating beneath the duvet, the tartan duvet, with a husky beside me. Wonderful. And a wife was somewhere around, not too sure where, on the roof probably. Chimney sweeping. I woke up to have conversations with three people, three great friends, all around the world. One was Captain Ronnie, over on the Emerald Isle, talking to him. I was talking to Scrowy, our good mate Scrowy from down under. And I was talking to the fabulous, the beautiful, I can't even say it, I'm so smitten with it, I can't even say the word beautiful properly anymore. The beautiful Imelda Gonzalez over in Texas. And we were all talking about various things, and it was great to wake up and like hands around the world sort of thing. It's wonderful. I love that. You know, there may be many thousands of miles between us all. Different sides, different corners of the globe. But we're all mates and we're all together. And that's like with you guys, all of you guys, we're all together. No matter where in the world you are and you're watching this, scratching your head thinking, like, Christ, what gibberish is he going to spout now? It's only Friday morning and I bet he's got a bottle of whiskey beside him. You'll make money on that bet because doodle-doo-doo-doo, he does. He has his whiskey. It's early doors as well, but it's never too early for whiskey. And some of you guys around the rest of the world, it's probably late in the day. So, cheers, y'all. So we're having a good yakety yak. And it was great. And then I came down and I just put the telly on, the big movie screen, put that on, and straight away, I'm not sure who had turned the TV off last night, but it was on some obscure channel. And do you know what it was? It was the 2013 Vienna Orchestra's tribute to James Horner, composer James Horner. Oh my God, I was just, you know, my tartan dressing gown just evaporated. Wow, so I sat down and just enjoyed an hour. That's all it was, highlights probably. An hour of fabulous music played by a great orchestra with a conductor who looked like Oliver Stone. I didn't get, I meant to get his name at the end of it, but I didn't. And James Horner, the great composer himself, was sitting in the audience and he was in tears throughout a lot of it. And I thought, oh God, if he's crying at his own music, and I love his music, you guys know this, I've covered his music, I've played tribute to James Horner many times. And he was sobbing. So I was sobbing. After last night's video paying tribute to the late great Raquel Welch, and I can't take any more. Oh, I've got no tears left. No, it was a great, sensational and yet weird way to start the day. But it was great. Now, some of the things that I've been talking about when I woke up and was getting all these messages and that, which I love, by the way, so keep them coming, was about the Kilt-Man. Have you heard they're redoing Hellboy again? And I went, well, yeah, I actually have heard that. Yeah, I did see that last night, and I've got the information here somewhere. But I love Hellboy. Regular viewers know I'm a massive, massive fan of Mike Mignola and then the original Hellboy graphic novels and actual novels as well, and short stories in full prose text format. I love the character, and I love Guillermo del Toro's two movies with Ron Perlman as Hellboy. They are sensational, and we still await the third part of what was clearly, whether they knew it at the start or not, was shaping itself up through its narrative through the first two movies, Hellboy and Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, was shaping up for a third movie. We never got that third movie, and I doubt we ever will. Both Ron Perlman, who is now, is he 79 or 80 even? He apparently has been, digging at the heels of Guillermo del Toro, saying, we've got to finish this off, we've got to finish the saga off, the fans want it, I want it, you know deep in your heart you want to do it. But Del Toro has always been too busy with other projects, and I think, unbelievably, I think there's financing issues as well, which the first 2 films were successful. So I can't quite understand why that would be a case, you know, to be an obstacle. And the fans want it, so they're clamouring for it. Hasn't happened, and possibly is unlikely to happen. So then in 2019, we got Neil Marshall's ill-fated reboot with David Harbour playing Hellboy. And I thought David Harbour did a really great job. For the most part, he looked just like Ron Perlman playing Hellboy. If you're going to have... See, in the comic books, he has cloven hooves. He doesn't have the great big mosher boots. He doesn't have that. They come down to cloven and goat hooves, because he is a satanic demon, in essence, and in all physicality, because he has his horns as well. Look, there he is. That is the David Harbour version of Hellboy. But in the movies, he has great big mosher boots, because it would be too hard to do it. If you're going to do scene after scene of it showing him walking through whatever location and scene or setting, they'd have to continually imagine the amount of CGI. He'd probably be... They get him on those what do you call them? Razors, lasers, blades, razor blades, razor blades. You know that Paralympians run on, those curved blades. The things that Neil Marshall used when he did Dog Soldiers. His werewolves were like statuesque, 9 feet tall, and they were dancers, and they were built up on those blades, those curved blades, to give them poise and height and a sort of athletic, balletic grace. And so you'd have to use them and employ them. That would cost an absolute fortune, so that was not going to happen, is it? But Neil Marshall's reboot died a death. It was hated by the fans, hated by the critics, hated by any blundering fool that just wandered into the multiplex. Oh, well, Hellboy. Could be good. Popcorn. This is fucking shit. Do you know what? I've reviewed that movie, and being the massive fan of Hellboy that I am, yeah, it was shit. But I saw a lot of merit in it. I actually did enjoy it because it was The Wild Hunt, which is my favourite Hellboy saga. And I thought they at least attempted it. It was butchered behind Neil Marshall's back to a huge extent by the producers and the studio. So Marshall then tried to have his name taken off that movie. What the hell has just happened? Oh dear, let's screw that off. That was an advert on the site where I was going to read all the information from, but if that's going to happen, I'm going to turn that shit right off right now. We're going to shut that shit down, and I have to do it from memory. He wanted to take his name off the movie because that was not the finished movie that he wanted to put out there, and I get that, I understand that. But Neil Marshall, as I've discussed many times, is so smitten with his girlfriend at the moment, whose name I've forgotten. I don't even want to mention her name because she's ruined what was a great British talent at making genre movies. Dog Soldiers, Dog Soldiers, The Descent, fantastic. Doomsday, you indulge too much in Mad Max, Escape from New York, all the things you love, but it didn't hang together for me, but I admire the ambition of it. Then he was doing like TV shows, Game of Thrones, great, fantastic stuff. Lots of other stuff on TV as well. And then I've missed a film out, I know I have. But then he did like a medieval sort of historical drama with the girl that is controlling him. And it was crap. Awful, because she can't act. She's awful in every single way. And then he did The Lair, which I did do a sort of a review of a while ago, and it is one of the worst things I've ever seen. And an erroneous mistake on my part is that when I did my worst movies of 2022, for some reason, I didn't put that in as number one, because it is the worst film, without a doubt, ever. Not just that year, but ever. It's god awful. And she's the star of it, and she is making him make decisions that you can see it. You can see it. He can't believe, that he got this. Wow, she shares my bed. Oh my word! I will do anything you want. Just keep on sharing my bed. And the lair was dreadful, absolutely dreadful. So Hellboy was obviously not a success. And he's still attached to it, even though he tried to get his name removed. People are still blaming him. But you could see things were beginning to slip away from him there. Sort of overreaching, maybe. And so now, it's taking me 10 minutes to get into this, but now there's another reboot of Hellboy on the way. And it's apparently far into development. And this is being made by a guy called Brian Taylor. See, I've lost the information now. Shit. It's going to be filmed in Bulgaria. Yes, that place that always doubles for, well, anywhere in the world. It's cheap to film there. Bulgaria's cheap. MJ Bassett, Solomon Kane. MJ Bassett is making Red Sonja there right now with Matilda Lutz. I really, really have great hopes and aspirations for that. Really looking forward to it. Love Red Sonja. And I love Solomon Kane. Fantastic stuff. So they're going to be filming it there. Now, Brian Taylor and some other guy, whose name I can't remember, have worked together before. They made, oh dear God. See, this is where it all falls apart now. You're like, oh, but this would be great. And it's going to be a so far obviously unfilmed story, which is The Crooked Man, Hellboy story, which I brought some of the graphic novels down, and other stuff is dotted around here as well. But I've got that. It was a 3-part story, and I've got it in something else. But could I find it for the purposes of this? No. And the story was about a man in the Appalachian Mountains who had sold his soul to a demon in the woods, the Crooked Man, and Hellboy joins him to go back into the woods, the haunted woods, to go and meet this demon and batter the demon and give the soul back to poor Tom, because it's that easy. Well, in Hellboy's world it is, because Hellboy is I would say two-fisted, but one fist is a great big chunk of red rock, and he has his gun as well, like the Samaritan, and all his charms. He's a fabulous character. The truest anti-hero you could ever have, because he is a demon by birthright, but he's fighting on the side of good. But if certain things happen and the prophecies come true, he will grow his horns, which he grinds down to try and hide it all. He's such a wonderful character, but visually impressive, and so anarchic and anti-authoritarian. He's great. He's almost like a petulant teenager in many ways. And loves his beer, loves his cats, and he's fabulous. I love him. So when he meets other demons, he just beat the shit out of them. Like, he doesn't, he will swear. He doesn't give a fuck. He's got cigars in his gob. He's the Clint Eastwood of the demonic milieu. Love him to bits. I'm actually playing Marco Beltrami's score for the first Hellboy right here, right now, behind us. If you can hear that going on. So Hellboy will go and beat this demon to a pulp and get the soul back for Tom. But if I remember rightly, I think there's a twist in the tale as well, as there always is. And so this reboot is taking The Crooked Man as its basis, but whether it's going to follow that story or go off on its own tangent, no one knows. I think you'd have to try to incorporate that story, wouldn't you? At least you're going to keep Mike Mignola on side. So sounds exciting, but these are the guys that did Jonah Hex. Yeah, Jonah Hex, the abortive, ill-fated movie live action rendition of the awesome Jonah Hex character from the comic books, which was a Western anti-hero which brought in zombies, vampires, and all sorts of other undead demonics, but in a Western environment. I've got loads of Jonah Hex stuff, and I love Jonah Hex. But the film was absolute travesty. Josh Hartnett? No, Josh Brolin played him. Great casting. Perfect for the role. With the makeup on, looked great. Fucking awful movie. Again, a film that was chopped up and chopped and chopped even further down. So it was an incoherent mess. And, you know, I have a lot of affinity with incoherent messes, being one myself. But the film is garbage, utter garbage. These guys also did the Ghost Rider sequel. Yes, this is Nick Cage as Ghost Rider. Now, I liked Ghost Rider, the first one. I know not many did, and it was a big surprise they got a sequel. But I did like the film. I had enough, because Nick Cage, I love Nick Cage. And, you know, if you don't like him, then obviously it's not going to work. Then Nick Cage has to work to win you over. But if Nick Cage is being Nick Cage, you don't like it, then that's it. There's no chance. You're not going to meet in the middle there. But I like Nick Cage when he's being Nick Cage, and I like Nick Cage when he's trying to be somebody else and trying to act. I like that as well. I think he can do a good job. And I loved the first Ghost Rider. But then the second one, Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance, was a complete travesty. It was utter garbage. All the things that made the first one work failed abysmally in the second movie. So, and these are the guys making this, Brian Taylor and the screenwriter, are the guys that made Jonah Hex and Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. Gonna wet me whistle. Someone said to me the other day, you know, I was in the pub, someone said, "Oh, watch your videos." And I said, "Oh, yeah, great, that's great. You talk too much." What am I going to do? Just sit here and just go. Little in joke there for regular viewers. What am I going to do? That's what I do. I talk. Of course I'm going to talk. Sorry, don't like it. You know. Go on mute and just watch the beautiful landscape that I have created. Now, I love Hellboy. This apparently will not star either David Harbour or Ron Perlman, for obvious reasons. But both of them, Ron Perlman possibly too old, and I'm sure Ron Perlman will not do. In fact, I'm pretty certain he said, "I'll never do Hellboy again unless I'm doing it with Guillermo del Toro," because in him I trust. Made many movies with del Toro, you know, Kronos, other stuff which I've now forgotten, of course. Typical. But they get on great. They have a rapport. They have a telepathy. They bond. And David Harbour's just too damn busy, and I don't think they're gonna do it. If you're filming in Bulgaria, you're filming for budgetary reasons. If you are filming there, you cannot afford. Maybe when Neil Marshall was doing Hellboy, they could afford David Harbour, but David Harbour's much bigger now again, so that ain't happening. And Ron Perlman's way out of your pay bracket, so it's not going to happen. But I don't want to be too damning about this. In fact, I don't want to be damning at all. I admire anyone who can try to get something off the ground if they've got a passion for the project, if they love the original character and stories, and you're going to really be respectful and bring that character and that story to life, then I massively applaud, and I wish you success. So Brian Taylor, if that is your name, because I can't see the fucking stuff now, so I've forgotten. Brian Taylor and the other guy. It begins with N. Is it Navidad or something? Navidad? Nativad? Something like that. You guys can do the homework. You check. I've lost all connection now, so. But any new Hellboy project I'm looking forward to. I think that'd be great. Well, I hope it would be great. I hope to be sitting here and singing its praises. And now, it hasn't begun filming yet. They haven't even cast it yet, so. But the big feature did say the big article, and it's quite a lengthy article as well, announcing all this. You always find that, and this is ominous as well, folks. And I don't want to be too damning about anything, but the films that get the big write-ups before they've even begun shooting or even begun casting, and they're only in development, but it's, we're going, we believe in this, and we love the original subject matter, the original material, we're massive fans of it, saying all the right things. Those official promo blurbs go on for a long time, and they're very detailed with hyper praise and self-aggrandizement. The films that really don't say too much, they're just like, yeah, we're bringing this character, we're gonna making this movie. This is the basic synopsis, and it's literally one line. Those one-liners, one paragraph, one line about the movie itself, are great successes. They become the big movies. The ones that have a novel written about them just fucking fade away. They're just dust blown by the alien horns of some huge beast on some alien planet. They are just gone. I hope that isn't the case with this, because I love Hellboy. I want to see Hellboy done right and given a proper story. And I think it's a good idea, but we don't know this for definite. They're calling it, it's tentatively based on The Crooked Man. And that's the title, Hellboy the Crooked Man. And I love this, and I wish James Bond would be more like this. I wish, ditch the Daniel Craig era. I love Daniel Craig as Bond, but ditch that era of the overarching stories. Bond is better to be episodic, just one-off story. And you can bring in a different guy playing him for every single fucking movie. I've said this before. I'm up for that. I don't mind that at all. And the ones that are big successes, bring them back again. You could just do it. Why build everything, an empire, on one guy? And then box yourself into a corner with a stupid overarching story, which generally does not work. And the same with Hellboy. Hellboy is a character who has many individual adventures, sideline adventures, but there's the overarching thing about the prophecy. You've got that, but you can have within that huge arc. You can have loads of little stories, which could all be great in different countries, in different dimensions, in different whatevers. Bring in different members of the BPRD, the Bureau of Paranormal Research and Defence, which of course, the great Abe Sapien, who was not in the last movie. Abe Sapien, Doug Jones played him. Awesome character. And you've got Johann Kraus. You've got loads of characters. You've got the Were-Jaguar as well. Oh my god, it's great. There's so many great characters in the BPRD, and this film could bring some more of those back. Like Liz, the pyrokinetic Liz, who is the mother of Hellboy's offspring. And that is what we want to see the third movie of with Hellboy from Del Toro and Perlman. You need that, get that story finished off. I hope that happens. Word is not good on that. But at least we're getting another Hellboy. So, I don't want to be, my word of the month has been disparaging. I've said it so many times now, disparaging. I don't want to be disparaging about a new project with one of my favourite characters. I wish it all the best. I hope it works. I hope and pray that it works. Because I want to sit there and see a great Hellboy movie with Hellboy being Hellboy. It's sardonic, cigar chomping, pussy stroking, careful now, Mosher boot stomping, because this is the movie version. He's got to wear the boots, not the hooves, and I'm just kicking ass in the supernatural realm with a bunch of other misfits who've got incredible visual aesthetics and bizarre powers, who are all outcasts from society because they're so different, yet they've got to come together for the sake of mankind, and mankind that hates them. That's the X-Men. I've just described the X-Men. Shit. But there are great similarities there. But Mignola's take on the similar sort of theme, it's not mutants, they're interdimensional, they're supernatural. And it's a much darker slant, which is why I prefer it, because it doesn't just, you know, dip its cloven hoof slightly into the supernatural and the horror realm. It fucking leaps straight into it. They are horror stories, but with lots of action as well. Superheroics, but in a much darker environment. That's why I love it. So, God, need more whiskey. Cheers, y'all. I hope you enjoy your Freedom Friday as much as I intend to. I'll be back later because this is the start of the day, and there's other news as well. There's other news about another movie. Should we say what it is? Should we say what it is? Shall we? Should we do it now? All right. It is the sequel to the Will Smith version of that. Ooh, get the ring light out the way. Woo! I Am Legend. One of the greatest horror novels ever published, ever written. Richard Matheson. Without that story there, you would not have George Romero's Dawn of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead. You would not have The Walking Dead. You would not have zombies and apocalypse. You would not have that. This is the book that brought that into vogue. And Night of the Living Dead is a take on I Am Legend. Been filmed 3 times so far. The Last Man on Earth with Vincent Price. The Omega Man, which I love. I've celebrated it. You guys know that. I love it. Ron Grainer's score is one of my favourites. I love that movie. Charlton Heston in the 70s. And then you got the Will Smith version, I Am Legend. At least it gave it the right title. Ridley Scott and Arnold Schwarzenegger were going to do this back in the 90s. And yeah, that sounded fantastic. To be honest with you, as much as I love Arnie and I love Ridley Scott, combination, Arnie, why it just happens to be a big muscle-bound fucking superheroic guy. That's not the point of the original story. And the original story has not been filmed properly yet. The closest has been the original black and white filmed in Rome with Vincent Price, The Last Man on Earth, which is great. People don't like it. It's very low budget, but I do like it a lot. The Omega Man is awesome, but it's not that. But for vastly different reasons, I love that movie so much. I Am Legend with Will Smith is phenomenal. I do enjoy the movie a lot. It fucks up at the end. It fucks up in various ways, but he's there with the dog, his German Shepherd. Now, I've said this before as well, and I'll probably say it again when I cover the remake of this. My dog, my last German Shepherd dog, me and her used to patrol the Badlands around the Kilted realm. And when I Am Legend came out, I thought I was Robert Neville, the guy that Will Smith, that Vincent Price, that Charlton Heston have played in the other variations on it. And I patrol in the wastelands, especially in the graveyard. Because in the book, they're not zombies, they're not mutants, they're not kind of like weird hybrid sort of whatevers they are. Dark Seekers. They're vampires. They are vampires in the original novel. And I'd be in the graveyard with our big German Shepherd. Pepper, her name was. And she was huge. She was almost prehistoric. She was. You could put a saddle on her, and I could ride. I could go out to Texas and go and meet Imelda. You know, because that dog was so big. Her feet would be on the entire seabed, coming across the ocean, and it was great. But in the film, of course, the dog, you find out it's called Sam, but it's actually Samantha. It's a girl dog. All of my dogs have always been female, all been bitches. And in fact, all my pets have been bitches. So in other words, I've been surrounded by women all my life. And of course, in the film, the dog will get bitten and will turn. And he has to kill his own dog, his only companion. At the end of the world. Oh, it killed me watching it. But love the movie. Sadly, when the film I Am Legend came out on Blu-ray, and in fact when it came out in the big box set, which is here. See, I brought this down as well because I thought I was going to do this. And apparently I am doing it. The I Am Legend big box set with loads of stuff in there, art books and all sorts. When that came out, my big German Shepherd Pepper died. And she died here. In fact, she died just over there. And she was so big, we knew she was suffering, and it was New Year's Eve, and we knew she was going to go. I'm going to cut this short, because you know how I can get. And I was on the phone to the vet, an emergency vet, and it's like the dog realised and heard, oh, Dad, don't worry. Because the vet said to me, if we come out tonight, which we will, it's going to cost you a lot. If she can wait until tomorrow, New Year's Day, it'll cost less. If she can go on to the day after New Year's Day, so January the 2nd, it'll cost even less again. And it's like, and I went, and I was in the middle landing, and looking down, and I could see her put a ball of water beside her, and she'd been fitting, and but she calmed down, and she got up, and I looked over the banister of the stairs, and she looked at me, and she walked down the hall into the kitchen, and I just knew, that was the end. So I put the phone down, I left it downstairs, and she threw another massive fit here, and I caught her, and the weight of it and the strength of it, she drove me back into our equally prehistoric cooker over there, which is condemnable, but still works, and took me down and died in my arms, exactly the same way that Samantha dies in Will Smith's arms in I Am Legend. So I am cemented to that story because I love it to bits. It's probably one of my favourites of all time written novels of horror. It's up there with The Keep. It's up there with The Tomb. It's up there with Wolfen. It's right up there. Matheson was just an incredible writer. Did lots of Twilight Zone and Outer Limits and many other movies as well. And so when that happened, I Am Legend became just part of me. The film isn't the best, but it's wonderful in what it does do. Now, what's interesting to say about this, it wasn't meant to go into all this, but you know me, once I start, I don't fucking stop, do I? As that guy said, you don't know, you talk too much. I know. And the sequel to this, the Will Smith version, it's going to have Will Smith in it, but it's set decades later, and it's Michael B. Jordan's going to be the main star of it. Okay, but who is he? Oh, we don't know. The theatrical version of I Am Legend ends with a sacrifice, but because another couple come into it. What's her name? Braga, a Latino actress, wonderful as well, with her son, do arrive into this environment. So there are other people around, and he takes them in, saves them. But in a last-ditch attempt to save them again, when his fortress in Manhattan has been overrun by dark seekers, and he's trying to find a cure for it all, and he's got the female of the leader of the pack basically, and he wants her back, and he's proved that he can actually save them. He's found a cure. But in the theatrical version, the two of them butt heads, and he has grenades. He saves Braga and her son, who managed to drive away and find a quarantine zone somewhere up north, and probably Canada. It's always Canada, isn't it? And flips the grenades, and they rush. Kaboom! He kills himself. That's the theatrical version, and most people have seen only that version. If you get the Blu-ray, you've got the alternate ending, and in the alternate ending, which is fantastic and infinitely better and more in keeping with Matheson's writing, he gives back. He realizes that the point of I Am Legend is that the last human being alive has been got in the book. He's going out and staking during the daytime all these vampires when he finds them, and then holding them for the night time and fighting them off throughout the night. But the vampires, even though they're still monsters, are in the majority, and they form their own society. So he's the monster. He's the thing that they tell their offspring about. Watch out for Robert Neville, because he's the monster that comes and gets us in the daytime while we sleep. He's the monster. And it's the realization that I am legend. I am the myth. I'm the monster. It's so wonderful. It's so clever. Now, in the film I Am Legend, the Will Smith version, and the alternate version of it, he's found the cure and he's saved the partner of the big alpha male, the Dark Seekers. And sounds like an 80s, or a 70s glam rock group, the Dark Seekers, and he's trying to show that, and this thing, the horrible thing about it is they have these big stretchy mouths. That was a big thing, like in this era. Every monster had to have a mouth that go whoa with CG embellishments, and they do all that. But and this thing's snarling at him, and he's like showing, look, she's cured. I've cured her. You can be like me and the woman and the kid who I've just helped get it through the chute and get away, but they don't want that. No, they're happy as they are. This is what we are. We don't want this, and like the threat is there. So he takes out the drip or whatever it is that's pumping the cure into her, and she reverts back to what she was, and he gives her back to them. It's a beautifully poetic ending, and they reach a stalemate. Okay, right, Daytons, you've given her back. Right, we'll take it away. You. So he does. So in the alternate ending, he survives. Doesn't get killed by grenades in a self-sacrificial last stand. He survives and he goes up to the quarantine zone as well. So this movie is basing itself on the alternate ending. Now that's the weird thing, because the overwhelming majority of people, many of you watching this probably have seen the alternate ending because you're watching my channel because you're into movies and you know this stuff anyway. But Joe Random on the streets who just blunders into the multiplex, oh, it's Will Smith, he's going to slap the undead apparently. Ooh. They haven't got a clue. And I've seen the first one, yeah, and hang on, didn't he die? What the? So I don't know how they're going to address that, but that's the working premise of the sequel, which is going ahead. Will Smith is in it, Michael B. Jordan is in it, and it's set decades later. So I mean, decades later, Will Smith's character Robert Neville is already greying anyway at the start of I Am Legend. So he's going to be a lot older, isn't he? Quite clearly. And I don't think he'll be in it much, to be honest. I really don't. He'll just be like a sage, old sort of oracle, really. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do it. But Jordan's going to be the action hero of it. So, and is Jordan going to be his son? Because he's got to quarantine zone and they formed a family, a sort of a new family, and he's could be his son. I don't know that. I don't know these facts. So I don't know what the story is. I've told you all I know. In fact, I wasn't even that was going to be a separate video, but you've got two for the price of one. There you go. You can't go wrong with that, can you? Kilt-Man, that's quality. That's quantity over quality, probably. But it's bog off, innit? Bog off. Buy one, get one free. And at this junction in time, I'm going to end on... Let's have a look. I've been playing Hellboy stuff. I can play I Am Legend, the score from that, which is phenomenal. Should I do that? Should I do it? Can I find it? Where the bloody hell is it? It's very morose, to be honest, so I don't think I'm going to do it. But what I will do is play the Omega Man by Ron Grainer, because I absolutely fucking love this score. Oh, please tell me I've got it on here. I haven't. Oh, unless it's come under the... Oh, that's not playing by the rules, that. That's not fair. Let me just do a search. I've got it. I've got the Omega Man. I've got it. Bit of suspense for you there. Right. Okay. Ron Grainer scored The Prisoner and, of course, Doctor Who. But listen to this. Actually, this goes on for quite some time, so I'll speed this up a bit. It's a lovely summery pastoral. Again, Charlton Heston's incarnation of Robert Neville has encountered another sort of hidden society of hippies and kids that have survived the plague, and they're okay, but they will succumb to it. He's immune. The whole thing about I Am Legend is that Robert Neville is totally immune, so it's his blood is going to be the thing which saves everybody. The vaccine. Oh God, let's not get started on vaccines again. And he will meet this bunch. A bunch of sort of suspicions will be overrun, and they'll form an attachment. And he begins to see a future, you know. In this version, they're not vampires, they're not dark seekers with big stretchy gobs. They are mutants, albino mutants led by the great Anthony Zerbe, whose character was actually a friend of, he was a TV reporter, journalist, but knew Robert Neville, who's the military scientist trying to find the cure. And this version, of course, is set in LA. Will Smith is Manhattan. But after Robert Neville will fight the mutants continually with motorbike chases and all. It's a fucking great movie. But then he will discover that the people he's met, Rosalind, Cash, it's an interracial relationship. He's white, she's black, and they form an attachment. She's the mannequin that suddenly comes to life. I know, you guys know this anyway. And if you don't, check the movie out, The Omega Man. 1974, I think. She will succumb to the plague herself, and there's a young black lad, who is gonna also go over because he loses the plot, and he goes over. He thinks Matthias, which is the Anthony Zerbe mutant leader character, may be right, so he goes to see them, and they kill him. It's a ritual killing as well. And Robert Neville, John Eston, will go and try and find this lad, and he'll find him with his throat slit. Oh my God, says the guy that was Moses. Come on, it's coming up. So we're getting there. We're getting to the main exciting theme, which I think is just wonderful. I should change all this decor, shouldn't I? Vampires! That's not the ones in this, though. Listen to this. Though he brings the organ in as well. Pianos and keyboards. And clangorous sort of metallic percussion. And guitars. The Omega Man. Some people call it the Omega Man. Whatever. 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 That's the theme. Has lots of reworkings in this score. People love this movie because it's great. B, this score is so weird and wonderful. Right. Neville's going to find the body and go on a fucking rampage. It's all too quick in the movie, but I have done a video specifically on this, by the way. Bong. This sort of ecclesiastical sort of musical vocabulary here. Very cathedral, sepulchral. You've got the drums as well. Cymbals and gongs. There's a hippie element to it. This is the way he sees it. Oh my God. Listen how the music kicks in as he drives his Jeep And he's got his submachine gun as well. And they set up roadblocks for him. How jazzed up is that? It's funky as fuck. It's a great action scene as well. He's got his floodlights on the front of his vehicle, his Jeep. And he crashes it, overturns, goes through a shop front. Listen to this now. It's a child's lullaby music box. He's got a pack of explosives which he throws under a vehicle and blows some of Matthias's shrouded, hooded, sort of cowled goons apart. Fires his submachine gun. How haunting is that? And then he thinks it's all over. And he's going to go back to his apartment, his brownstone apartment, highly protected. Just lost everything again. But in the meantime, Matthias and his goons have got inside the fortress. All the film they've been going, Neville, come out, Neville, come out. And when he gets in there, and they're there, Matthias, Anthony Zerbe goes, come in, Neville. Sounds strange, doesn't it? Come in, Neville. It's fucking awesome. And they will pin him down and they're gonna kill him. But he will have one last, literally sacrificial in this case, battle again. Folks, this was not meant to be I was meant to just cover Hellboy and Freedom Friday. But you've got I Am Legend and more specifically the Omega Man. So they're holding him down. He's an Air Force general, I think, working with the army, as a scientist. So he wears Air Force blues, and he wears I'll never know what the cap is he's wearing. He's got a peaked cap with the big badge on the front. That looks more naval to me, but normally I know my headgear and uniforms, but I think they've thrown together an image for him in this movie, which is not specifically authentic. Neville, it's your time's over, basically. Now it's time for us to build. With you gone, we can build. This is Matthias. And he'll just say build coffins. That's all you'll need. And he'll have a little scuffle in his apartment, and he'll get away, and he'll get out to the fountain, and he'll save the girl, because his blood, he's got files of his blood, which he can give to this commune, give it to them, and they can save themselves and get away. And they can also, like in I Am Legend, the Will Smith version, bring someone back from being turned into infected, bring them back, cure them. And Rosalind Cash is there. She's gone albino as well. And they have to wear sunglasses. There must be a shop somewhere that just sells to mutants black cowls and cloaks and black shades, because you can't go out in the sunlight, Vampires. It's all based on that, you see. The original novel. So they'll get to a fountain, but if he's the hero, he's the saviour, then he, like Jesus Christ, he has to go. Listen, build coffins. That's all you'll need. Listen to this now as he breaks free. He's got a broken bottle to someone's throat. There's axes going after him. He gets his submachine gun. And he gets Rosalind Cash. Get out. See how that main theme's changed its tone? It's more fatalistic now. They've got outside and he's like, it's 2 minutes to sunrise, and they've got to hold them off, and they're by a fountain. she's like, Robert, I've got to go to Matthias. Matthias appears on the balcony of Robert's apartment. And he's calling, Lisa. He's calling to her, Lisa. And he's trying to pull her back, but his gun jams. Oh, what's wrong with this thing? It's jammed. And she's going, sunrise is about to happen. They'll be saved. And suddenly, they pick up a javelin. It's like, it's jammed, you know. And Charles Matheson has a fabulous death scene here. It's coming. And it collapses. He falls into the fountain. Manages to bring the spear out. Blood goes. And it's like, ugh. And then a great guttural voice, he goes, Lisa! But the sun rises. And the hippies all arrive. Not Costco, that's a supermarket chain. Kosovo, no, that's a country. I forgot his name. The hippies arrive with the kids. And like, they manage to get her back, cover up from the sunlight, and get her back to like the bus that they've got, the school bus. And like he just looks at Robert Neville. And he's like, "What can we do?" Neville's lying in the pool, filling up with blood now, and he's just managed to pull out a vial of his own blood, which is the cure, and it slips out of his hand, and they catch it in the water. And like it's just, you've given your life for us. The Jesus parable is there, and off they go. And as Charles Matheson dies and he collapses into the water takes his arms off like that, and of course he forms the cruciform. It's genius. Should I have said spoilers ahead there? I possibly should have done. Anyway, folks, you got way more than you expected, way more than I thought I was going to give you. So chew on that. Let me know what you think of a Hellboy reboot and a sequel to I Am Legend. I will talk more on the sequel to I Am Legend as more news develops, obviously. Cheers, y'all. See, it's got into this. It's the same theme. You've had an action. This is where themes come in and composers really work with stuff. They have their idea and they give it, if they're action composers and horror composers, any fucking composer, as a main theme, it will go through different permutations, it'll evolve. And in this, you've got the action version, you've got the pastoral version, you've got the tragic, the moving version. Then you've got this acceptance and we're moving on. And there's hope and optimism. Wonderful film, folks, wonderful film. It's a wonderful story. And it formed the entire genre of apocalypse movies that you've got now. The entire apocalypse, one man against armies of zombies, vampires, ghouls, dark seekers, whatever you want to call them. That book by, I'll show you again. That book, I Am Legend, is a classic. And there is a dog in it as well. And it's good that Will Smith's version actually brought the dog in and made it tragic. There is a dog chapter in this book and it is tragic. So we'll end on this pleasantry here, this upbeat, summer of love style. Ron Grainer, what a composer. He threw everything at this score and there was so much depth and texture and avant-garde quality to it, and then it hangs together. It slides off the the tie-dyed tales of the hippies into the 70s elements of funk and blaxploitation. It's all there, and yet it's its own thing as well. very experimental in many ways. Folks, I have been always shall be Kilt-Man. Please, in the meantime, and it's ever added to in between time, please keep it Kilty, keep it Celtic, and I am going to see you all in a lounge near you. Just make mine a large scotch.